as a communal whole, we need, as human beings, to regulate our nervous systems more so we can make specific, intentional decisions in our life rather than constantly being ruled by groupthink. Feel what it feels like to do the opposite of what the group is doing. I can walk into a room and I can change the dynamic of the room based on the way I use my nervous system. It's a superpower, and it's a superpower you all can have.
Hi, I'm Colleen Nelson, licensed therapist, trauma expert, and fellow badass woman ready to rise up right alongside you. This podcast, Let the Rest Burn, is for the woman who has ignored, attacked, or even silenced her inner voice because she thought it was broken and needed to be fixed. It's for the woman who is ready to rise up and fully step into her desire, her joy, her full power, and make the impact she was destined to make. For the woman who cannot stand one more second waiting, watching, and witnessing the world crumble, and is ready to rebuild and expand into a better future. For a woman who is so done trying to fix the world, she decided to start with healing herself, and she let the rest burn.
Hello, and welcome to Let the Rest Burn. Today on the solo episode is all about what does it actually mean to regulate your nervous system. I don't know about you all, but I have heard this term all over the internet. Be regulated. I'm dysregulated. Regulate your nervous system. And maybe you're like, what do you mean, Colin? I have not even seen that. I live on the healing side of the internet, but it's everywhere. The word is everywhere. And so I really want to talk about what regulation actually means and what it looks like to be regulated, and also what the concept of dysregulation is. Because here's what happens. We get into this place where we think that we're regulated, and then we experience a trigger, or we experience a hard moment in our day, and we get kind of knocked off our axis and out of that calm, cool, collected place. And then all of a sudden we feel an immense amount of shame or frustration with ourselves because now we're dysregulated. Okay, so let's get really clear what regulated actually means. Then we're going to dive into why that's not an accurate statement. So I'm going to first define the terms sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So these are two different parts of your nervous system that act to keep you safe, protected, and regulated. So the sympathetic nervous system activates you. It is in preparation for a threat, but also it's what you experience with excitement, with something you're intrigued by, motivation, working out. It's not just a threat to your survival. It's that edge of excitement and newness and risk. And this activation of your heart rate lifting up, heat rushing into your body, your pupils dilating, feeling that energy course through your veins. This is the sympathetic nervous system. Then we've got state zero. State zero is kind of in between both. Nothing is getting activated. You're just observing and aware. A lot of people think this is regulated, but it's not. Then you've got the parasympathetic nervous system. This part of your nervous system is meant to calm you down, to help you prepare for sleep, to help you prepare for death, to numb you out when things get too difficult or too hard or you need to compartmentalize. This is categorized by, calm, resting state, but lethargy as well. You can get into a space of depression if it lingers for too long, but it feels good and it's hard. Both of these parts of the nervous system can be healthy and unhealthy, right? So what is regulation? Regulation is the ability to flow between states. That's it, truly. Be able to be in a stimulated state, come back to zero, be able to be in a lethargic state, come back to zero, and flow between them rather than getting stuck in one or unable to access one. So let's talk about what that actually looks like. Regulation means you might be having a calm, cool, collected day, then somebody says something to you, you get triggered, angry, frustrated, maybe a little reactive, but you use your tools. My favorite right now is breath work. Use your tools. Maybe it's a run, maybe it's a conversation, maybe you dance it out, but you use your tools to come back to zero. And maybe even you use your tools to transition more into that parasympathetic state and kind of rest or take a nap or meditate. But you're able to move between states. You're not stuck in that triggered place all day getting activated. Same thing on the other side. Maybe you wake up a little depressed or sad or struggling. Maybe there's some grief happening in your life and you're able to move your body, access your motivation and get yourself back into that regulated space or back into a stimulated space. That is what regulated means. You can move between states through choice, using your tools, and using your capacity to work with your body rather than against your body. A dysregulated nervous system doesn't feel like you have choice, okay? And for many of you, I know you're like, uh-oh, that's me. Me too sometimes. Honestly, I've worked very hard to have a regulated nervous system. For my line of work, it's very important. But at the same time, things can come into my world and I can get dysregulated. Just to kind of tell a personal story to help you understand this. So I've been navigating some tough stuff with my living situation. Me and my ex are kind of chatting about what best routes to move forward on. I own this townhouse. He's currently renting and looked at the market to try and buy. But the rental market, the housing market out here in Northern Colorado is quite intense. And so we made the decision to have him move into this townhouse and for me to rent for a bit. I need a bigger space. I've got 2 dogs, and really it's time for him to have a little stability. So even in thinking about that and navigating that the last couple of months and what led to those decisions being, financially backed as well, I've had a lot slower year than I did last year. I've aligned myself for a very new approach to business. And although it feels really good in my nervous system to be serving all of you in a different way and be really only inviting aligned clients into my life, the finances are not necessarily matching it quite yet. So tough decisions have been made. Financial stress can 1010% cause dysregulation. It disrupts your capacity to feel like you have choice. And so I can wake up in a state where I feel frustrated and activated, and I can do my best to come back down. But if that reoccurring thought continues to circle in my head, I can't always use the same tools I typically use. This is where I need my group work. This is where I need my mentor, my therapist. I love going to a group of women that, whether it's a mastermind or a group healing circle, where I can really throw this in there and I can be honest and I can get reflections. That having other people help me regulate my nervous system is a tool I have to use. We'll get into co-regulation here in a minute. Either way, dysregulation can happen even to those of us that have all the tools in the practice, myself included. And sometimes for me, it's definitely when I feel like there's a consistent threat to my survival, right? Not having the money come in is like a tiger circling my house. When is it going to jump in and get me? And that doesn't put me in a place where I can go between states. I'm stuck actually up in that hypervigilant, stimulated place, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And my body never gets to rest or come back to zero. And in fact, I'm missing moments of presence. I'm missing moments of connection because I'm so hypervigilant or so focused on that. So I'm in a place where I'm recognizing the need for extra tools and support in order to regulate my nervous system. And I'm just being honest with you all because sometimes it surprises me that I still need it, right? That I'm not in a place after all this time where I can just regulate. But it's true. Like there are circumstances in my life currently that make it challenging for me to regulate my nervous system. And I know solutions will come. I know things will shift. I know things will change, but it's just so hard. It can feel like you're moving backwards. It can feel like you're repeating same patterns. And I want you to know, like, I see you if you're in this place. I feel it in my body. I don't want to repeat patterns. I don't want to go back to a space where I'm cohabitating with my ex or, renting, but it's so hard when you have to make the decisions that are best for your family or the decisions that are just best for your circumstances. So I want you to think about really the things that dysregulate you, right? I gave you an example of what's going on in my life, but what are the ways that you get dysregulated? What are the things you do that kind of pull you out of your center or your ability to flow between states? So I would say anxiety and depression, those two terminologies, those two diagnoses. I'm not a fan of diagnosis, just so you all know. It's not that I don't believe in it. I think it's a way we contextually understand what's happening, but it takes away a lot of a person's ability to heal if it's like, this is who I am, this is my identity. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm currently going through. Absolutely. I hear you. I support using those terms. But when we kind of slap a diagnosis on, it feels like a life sentence. And that's not always the case. Yes, our brain chemistry can be off. Yes, genetic components can be at play. None of that is illegitimate. It's more just, can we look at it from a broader perspective? Can we look at it from a trauma-based perspective? Can we look at it from a somatic perspective? How can we help the body heal? And I would say the number one thing that is happening with anxiety is you're stuck in that stimulated space. There's something in your environment, there's something in your nervous system that believes the external world is a threat. And in doing the deeper somatic work, doing the deeper therapeutic work, oftentimes you can clear that from your nervous system so you have better flow. So for those of you that struggle with anxiety, like you are probably stuck up in that sympathetic state and unable to regulate your nervous system without the help of medication or someone else or a lot of tools and support. And there's no shame around that. Please hear me when I say it. We all have those spaces. I'm in that space right now, but it's good to know you don't have to be there forever. It's not a space you have to live in. A regulated nervous system is possible for all of us. And depression, it's the other way around, right? It's this overproduction in our brain chemistry of that parasympathetic nervous system being activated. And again, I think the root of it is trauma or our nervous system being misaligned with the present moment, thinking that you need to tune out, tune in and numb out the world because that's what's safe. And we have to really work with our nervous system to move through it and move out of it. So if you are in a hypervigilant state, I want you to practice the art of breath work and meditation and slowing down and really allowing some spaciousness for your nervous system to settle. If you are in a parasympathetic state and you feel yourself lethargic and not motivated and just struggling with activating your body, I want you to return to a space of what can I get excited about for even 5 seconds? Can I do 10 jumping jacks right now? Can I just walk outside in the sun, move my body? What does it look like to laugh? Get your body into a different space where it is activated a bit. Sometimes we have to access anger to get out of it, right? So regulation comes back to this space of utilizing your tools, clearing your nervous system, helping yourself get very honest about what is actually happening in my body, not shaming yourself for being dysregulated, and just giving yourself the opportunity to work with your nervous system. The final piece I want to talk about today is co-regulation. Right? Co-regulation is our capacity to regulate with another human being or another living creature. I co-regulate with Ollie all the time. He's going in and out of the room right now. I co-regulate with him all the time because he has a nervous system that's relatively grounded and rooted and stable, unless he's going to bark, which he might hear soon. But in order for me to come back to a space of regulation, I sometimes need another body, another nervous system that is regulated to help me come out of that hypervigilant state or come up from that lethargic state, right? So this is a partnership. You can do this quite a bit. Having somebody hold space for you and be regulated, be able to move in between states where your state is not activating them into a stimulated state, they're actually able to counter it. So if I'm entering a session with someone and they're in an activated place, I'm going to activate my parasympathetic nervous system and take deeper breaths. And I'm actually going to calm my nervous system down so I can pull them out of that stimulated state and back to zero. Because our nervous systems mirror each other. We've got those mirror neurons in our brain. We want to belong. We want to be like each other, be in the same energetic experience as each other. And so co-regulation is extremely powerful. Imagine that times 10, right? A group of people that are co-regulating with you is extremely powerful. This is why I do group work. This is why I love retreats. This is why I love my inner circles. This is why I come back to time and time again doing things in community, because we have to be able to co-regulate with each other. This is also that mob mentality, right? If we are all activated and activating each other and none of us have the capacity to regulate, then we can't decipher whether my emotion and your emotion are the same thing or your emotion is actually making my emotion amplified. So as a communal whole, we need as human beings to regulate our nervous systems more so we can make specific intentional decisions in our life rather than constantly being ruled by groupthink. Politics do this. Any sort of A sporting event does this, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. I want you to really practice the art of regulation in a space in which you typically feel yourself going along with the group. Feel what it feels like to do the opposite of what the group is doing. Take deep, long, slow breaths if the group is chanting and excited and jumping. If a group is sad and depressed and lethargic and quiet, what does it look like to get worked up, to maybe move your body a little bit, to run in place, to talk a little faster? Co-regulate and see how people respond. I can walk into a room and I can change the dynamic of the room based on the way I use my nervous system. It's a superpower, and it's a superpower you all can have. So let's practice the art of changing our communities, our family dynamics, our partnerships, our children by regulating our nervous systems. If you are looking for tools on this, if you're looking for spaces on this, I have all of this on my website and more. I've got an amazing tool that I made called From Reactive to Responsive. Okay, this is where I'm teaching you to regulate your nervous system, 2 videos, a PDF, and a breathwork meditation, and it's only $11. So if you're interested, please grab it. It will be in the show notes. If you would like to join one of my inner circles, I have a men's inner circle and I have 2 women's inner circles that I'm enrolling in right now. The first one is full. I'm enrolling the second one as we speak. So if you are interested, please fill out an application. I would love to have you come co-regulate with us and really just have a space where you can learn this incredible gift and this incredible tool that's not only going to make your life better, but the lives of everyone around you. If you have questions, if you're like, Colleen, I still don't get it, message me on Instagram, send me an email, let me know what's going on for you. I want to hear it. Until I see you again, everyone, let's step into our full selves and let the rest burn.
Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate every single second that you chose to set aside for you and the impact that you're going to have on the world today. To be inspired, to be seen, and to hold space starts with the very actions we take with ourselves. Look at the show notes for more information. Like and subscribe and share with friends if you feel inspired to. And as always, let the rest burn.